Alright, welcome to another video. If you've got a TX that isn't responding and it needs to be bound to your X-Wing, this is I'm going to show you how to do it. There's actually three methods on how to bind an ELRS receiver to the transmitter, but I'm going to go over two with you today. One involves setting up your Wi-Fi, going into user interfaces, setting up binding phrases. It's just a bit complicated, especially for beginners with Edge TX. So the other two methods are powering the X-Wing on quickly 3 times in a row, and that should put the receiver into a binding mode. Or if failing to do that, because you really need to be able to see the light inside. On mine I can see the light behind the seat, so I could actually do this without removing the canopy. But if you can't see that light, you might need to remove the canopy. And as well, if you remove the canopy, you're going to be able to see that the cable is connected to the flight controller properly as well. But I'll run through the three methods. First thing that we need to do though is when we get onto our radio, we're going to have to get ready to press bind. So if we press the center cursor wheel there, and then if we just go across to radio settings, select that, and then we want to go over to the Express LRS tab there. Once we've selected on the Express LRS tab, we can scroll down to the bottom, and down at the bottom you'll see a bind button. So when we get the ELRS receiver into binding mode, we just go down to that screen and then click on bind. I won't do it yet because I'm not ready, but what I'll do now is show you the ELRS receiver in binding mode. Right, the easiest method is by using the battery in and out 3 times just to cycle the receiver to put it into binding mode. If you have a look behind my seat there, you can see a little amber light flashing just down here, and that is my receiver. So thankfully I can see that, so I'll know it's gone into binding mode when I put the battery in and out 3 times. So once we get that double flash in, it will actually be into a binding mode. So I'll show you how to do that now. What you need to do is disconnect your battery and just connect that out, but leave the battery turned on. Don't cycle the battery off, because if you notice, it's the battery you actually turn on and off, not the model. But we need to just plug this in and out 3 times. So we keep the power on the battery, and we just basically plug it in 3 times. There's once, there's twice, and there's 3 times. On the 3 times I'll insert it fully. Now if we wait a couple of seconds, and now behind that seat we should see a double flash. Notice we got a double flash there now. So the receiver is actually in binding mode now. So all we would have to do is, like I showed you just now, go into the menu and go down to the bottom and press bind. As soon as you press bind, job is done. I won't press it for a minute because I'll show you the other method. Alright, the next method would be to remove this, and to remove this there's 3 screws on the belly, the 1.5mm hex screws that you can disconnect. Once those 3 are out, the canopy will just lift out like this, and we can just put it to one side, and there you will see the ELRS receiver flash in there. So I'll just give you a close-up of that receiver now. Right, there's a close-up of the ELRS receiver there. If we look on the back of the receiver, just here there's a tiny little black button underneath the heat shrink there. Once we press this, it will put the ELRS receiver into binding mode. So if I press it now, there we go, until we get a double flash. Now we've got a double flash, we're in binding mode, and then we just have to press bind on the TX. And I'll just quickly screw this back down and show you what I mean again on the TX. On the TX, we just pressed the scroll wheel, we went over to radio settings, and then Express LRS tab. Once you're in the Express LRS tab, we go down to the bottom and press bind, and now it's looking for it, and you should see all of a sudden, there you go, it's bound. All of a sudden that light went blue, and we should be fully connected. There you go, and we're fully connected. So now it's just a case of put it back together and screw it all in, and we're good to go. Right, as you can see, we've bound it now. Everything is working as it should. So that's the 2 simplest methods. Let's say there is a third. I'm not going to go into that. If you want to learn how to do binding phrases, there's plenty of videos out there how to do that on Edge TX radio. But as you can see, look, we're all connected. Everything's working. Job done. So hopefully that helps you solve your problem. Any questions, feel free to ask. Come into the Flywing X-Wing group. I'll put a link in the comments. But don't be afraid to ask questions. We're here to help. Hopefully that solves your issue. Don't forget, if you want more technical tips like this, give us a thumb, subscribe, and you'll get all the latest info when the repairs come in.